that's basically it. Don't escape your life with booze. Create a life where you don't need to. So
The big thing I say is like you gotta win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsler podcast.
busy man, mate. Busy man. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Still just doing it. I saw you going to Marbella. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go, but then I said, feck it, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I booked everything. I said, yeah, let's go, because I'm going to try and go to all the quarterlies now. That's going to be my goal.
You've been to everyone so far, though, right?
No, I missed the True Dark. I know they did the quarterly online, but I just think that going that 6 months without the meetup really kind of allows me to go on autopilot.
Yeah.
And not double down on my workload.
You'd have absolutely smashed Through Dark. You'd have.
Oh yeah, I was looking forward to it.
Mate, I struggled. Not massively struggled, but it was like some of the people at the front, like Paul was at the front, pretty mega. I was like, how do I? Yeah, like I don't know how I got to. I was like middle, and I thought I was like my fitness was amazing, but there's some absolute beasts in that. Like even some of the girls as well, like were beasting it, like to the front, like mate. But it was so good, like just to like it's basically 16. I think it's like 16K, and then we got beasted in the water. But yeah, like their setup is incredible. Like but yeah, mate. Like obviously the others have been really good as well. I thought Villa Park was brilliant.
Yeah, I did. I liked Villa Park. And then the new planner, I really enjoying. I don't like the fact that there's not a thing in the middle where I can write my planner. So now I need a diary with my planner. But
yeah.
But the questions I'm finding are really kind of keeping me focused. The new
I find it better, to be honest. I found it like, I basically just something's happened like with our. I got a bit of a shitty. I think it was quite shitty, but maybe that's why I was taking it from my like accountability group. There was like 7, 8 of us, and now then there was 3 of us. One of the guys sent me a message saying, "Sorry, I feel I need to be in a different group, right? Because I need to be around bigger people." And I'm like, do you know what I mean? Like that hurt a bit, but then we got rearranged the groups, and he got landed back in my group. So I'm like around 6, 7 other people, and he's in there as well. And I'm like, mate, it's weird, isn't it? Like,
yeah, because we were in a group. We got a group last September, I think it was, and it was going well. Again, there was 8 of us. One guy dropped out in the first, I think, week because he didn't want to post videos, and that was the rule. You have to post a video.
Yeah,
and then it kind of split up there. March, April, around that time, people were leaving, and it was just what happened was like everyone in the group was good.
Yeah,
what happening is it was a check-in group. It wasn't an accountability group.
No, and that's how ours was.
It was a tick the box group.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest. When I left, I was actually a lot more, and I was glad because I felt that was them becoming. Oh, I have to watch these videos. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just ticking the box. I know most of the guys in the group are just ticking the box. And then I've been asked to be in 1 or 2 since, and I said no. And I recently just joined back on a different group. I was at, but it's only 4, and it's working well. But I when I went in, I said the same thing. If this is the 10x group, if you pull me on my shit, and I will pull you on your shit. It's not going to be. I'm going to hang on. I'm going to say, lads, listen, I'm out, because it has to be helping me, not taking time away from me. And everyone, and after the quarterly, actually in Villa Park, we met up for. I know I did the Leslie Moore Day last week.
Yeah.
Brilliant, and we met up for because all the lads are close, so we met up. after that for dinner, and we had a chat, and we settled the rules on the group, and just kind of
That's amazing.
it's a lot better.
So it's like day one today of like our new one. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. But it's weird, isn't it? Because like I feel that my previous one was just tick box video, and like when I started calling people out, they were like, "Oh, don't be like." I then started getting heat back saying,
Yeah.
don't be so hard," and I'm like, "But we're in an accountability group. Like, if you can't post a 10 to 18 second, 20-second video, then I can do one, in my opinion." And that's,
And that's what, like, in all fairness, that's what Paul would do.
yeah.
Paul wouldn't listen to your bullshit.
So I call people out. I was like, well, if you go on holiday and you can't post a 10-second video, then you're not invested in this group, so do one.
Yeah.
And I find that, I think that was all right in saying that, but I don't know. Like, yeah, it's weird. So hopefully this one will work. But
Yeah.
one of the other lads in it was like exactly what you said, set the rules out. He set a 2-minute video this morning and was like, I'm not here just to bullshit and send videos, and I want calling out. So I even called someone out this morning, and I was like, you say you're going to do 10,000 steps, but you say it's raining. How are you going to do them 10,000 steps? Do you know what I mean? And because you can use any excuse under the sun, can't you? That's why we're here to be like, well, it's raining. A bit of rain's, I went out running today. It's not, a bit of rain's not going to hurt you. Do you know what I mean? It's making sure that people do.
I think that's a big thing, and I know, like, the holiday thing. We had a guy that was like, he was gone away for a few days with the miss. He goes, "I won't be working, won't be doing that," and so there's no point in me checking in. And I just went, "Look, you don't have to, like, if you don't want to check in, that's fine. But even if you just do a 10-second video, go, hey, here's my morning check-in. The plan is to have an amazing day with my wife, and then the evening, hey, had an amazing day with my wife." You're checking. It's the compounding effect of doing the task.
Yeah.
When you're on holidays, because that was the one thing the lads were bringing up in the new group, was like, well, what about the weekends? We don't really tend to work, and our focus is more family, and we're not. There's no real projects. I said, well, then on Saturday and Sunday, you say, I'm going to create a magic moment with my family, and then that evening I want to hear about it. Because, like, because I kind of, the way it kind of seemed was like, will we take Sunday off? And I was like, no, we don't need to, because it's a 10-second video.
Yeah.
So let's go in and get it done. And if it's like, listen, today I plan to do nothing, I'm going to relax, it's R&R day, it's all later, post that, and we're good. Rather than, well, I didn't do that, and so I didn't post. Yeah,
and I think that's the thing. Like Paul says, and I agree with Paul. Like, you still want to collect wins while you're on holiday, on Saturday, Sundays. You still want to journal and collect them wins. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you journal? Why wouldn't you tell your accountability group this is what you're doing? Yeah. So I find it interesting, because even some of the groups, I don't know if I think you were on the call the other week. Some of the groups have like penalties, fine. Yeah. Which is, I think it's great, because you'll then do what you say you would, unless you want to give money to charity, which is, again, great. But yeah, it's really interesting. I do think, like, one of the guys who used to be in my group and was in Alliance, because of the group and he wasn't getting what he was, he left Alliance. Because we had a guy leave Alliance as well. He just felt like, I'm not, and that's fine. Like, I know it's not, and I do get where, if you go into a group, and some lads possibly, I think they need to get good at Alliance before they go into a group, because I think it could be too much for them. And I know the word overwhelmed, but I think there's too much accountability, where if they're just accountable to Alliance, like Paul and Kath and all will be there for them. I think some guys get into a group, and I suppose it could be hard if you get in there and there's some heavy hitters and you feel a little bit, I'm not able to do this. But, like, there's lads, like one of the lads in my group, like, well, actually all the lads in my group do financially better than I do. Yeah. But that doesn't bother me. No. It doesn't bother them, because I pull them up and I ask other questions. Because it's not about how much you're making, it's about how good you're doing. It's interesting you say that, because I feel that that person in my group has done the flip of it. Basically, I'm trying to launch my coaching business. It's harder than I thought.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying I need to be around bigger people, better people. And I'm like, but the other guy who left the group and left Alliance was like, well, there's 5 F's in this,
Yeah.
You may be doing well in finance, but what about your fitness? What about this? Do you know what I mean? Marcus is running marathons.
Yeah.
Let's pick. Do you know? Yeah, I find it a bit of I took it to heart because I'm more sensitive maybe, but I'm like, come on, there's no need for that,
I can see where you can. If someone said, listen, I'm out of group because you're not I need to be around bigger people.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand the mindset of going there, but then I also understand it's like, well, what are you contributing to the group? So you can have an impact. Is everyone in the group? Do you feel that you're superior to everyone in the group? Is that what it is? Because if you think you're superior, you can't learn.
No.
But there's always a learning curve and then there's your capacity to impact and help other people, I think, is bigger than your capacity to be in a group and then be wanting other people to come help you.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger kind of thing. And if you need accountability, it's like pretty much, what's your plan? I want to do this. Okay, I'm going to hold you. You don't need someone that's financially doing better to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. No. I didn't pick the group because of the people in it. Oh, sorry, what the people are doing. The group I'm in is because I get along with these lads really well, and then I gave them very particular kind of pointers of this is what I want from the group, and if the group isn't that, it's okay. You do your thing, and I'm going to just go off because I'm okay being on my own, and I'll use Alliance as my accountability group. So it's a pretty good way to kick off the show.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Love it.
So for obviously you've been on the show before. We met at the first. It was the first or second Paul Moore Coaching Academy live. I don't do them anymore. And you have was it Marcus, the alcohol-free guy?
Yes, that's me.
I think you're well over 1,000. So where are you now for days sober?
See, it's an interesting one. So I'm probably 1,015, 1,020 now. It's crazy to think about it. I did say when I did a small little live on my 1,000th day, I did say that maybe I'll only count years now.
Yeah.
So the milestones will be the years as opposed to the days, because I suppose it's not a thing anymore. However, 1,000 days is pretty mega when I got there, and I'm like, considering this was supposed to start as a 3-month trial for a holiday, this is pretty big for me, and I feel that it started just like I said as I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to look better for our holiday in March at the time. And I'm like, what really started it was a row with my girlfriend. She went out. Well, we went out together and got pretty battered. She got pretty battered, and I wasn't drinking. And she woke up in the morning, and I'm like, look, I don't want to do this anymore. And as you know, momentum is a fucking great thing. And I picked up momentum. I then started running with it. And then momentum starts to hit, and I'm feeling better. My energy's better, my skin's better, I'm losing weight, and all these things are adding to it. I'm better around my girlfriend, I'm better around my family. I wasn't living with my girlfriend right at the time, but we moved in since then, and the influence and impact that I've felt from going alcohol free, and then 1,000 days, it's just I don't now have to wake. I now know that I don't have to wake up ever with a hangover.
Yeah.
I don't have to wake up ever. You know, I listened to a stat yesterday. 50. If you have a hangover every weekend, that's 52 days a year. You're out of action. You know, if that hangover lasts just one day, and now we know the older you get,
Wednesday.
Hangovers. Yeah, and like only, you know, that's only with booze. You know, if you bring other substances into it, the hangovers can last 3-4 days. Imagine that. What you and I are doing on our different levels and our lives that we're living, how impactful that has on our lives.
That's huge because if you look at it, right? So I remember Paul mentioned something like that before, and that's what got me on the 100 days sober. I did a 100-day challenge. And I'm back on one now. I'm doing one till I'm not drinking till March, the day of the marathon. I'm going to run the Rome Marathon, and I'm not going to drink until I finish the marathon. Right. And then depending on how that goes, I might just keep it going because I don't miss it. I do miss certain things, and we'll come back around. We'll circle back around to that. But what Paul said is like you're like if you drink once a week, on average you're losing a month. But if the stat's 52 days, you're losing nearly 2 months out of your life where you're on the couch. You don't want to interact. You don't want to be around people, and you feel like shit. So nearly 2 months of your life, you're feeling like crap.
Yeah.
Really, you chose that. And like again, it's not a knock on people that want like drinking and stuff like that. And that's a prerogative. But when you look at it from that point of view, it's huge. And I know it was the point that was made is that people like, and it was a bit of a stretch, but you go to a pub to drink because you want to undo what you're doing, or you want to forget about your life that you're not enjoying. So you're willing, if you have to drink to enjoy, if you have to drink to enjoy the situation, you didn't really like the situation.
Yeah, it's
I thought that was quite profound.
Yeah, and I think the same goes for the situation. The same goes for the people. If you're having to drink to enjoy the company of others, then you don't like them people, right? So it's the same as the situation. You don't like the situation if you have to drink to enjoy the situation. But that same goes to people, because if you have to drink to enjoy the company of others, then you don't like the people, right?
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing, you know. The concept of even going to the pub now for me is just it's not a thing. I can't remember the last time I chose to go to the pub, or because, you know, fine, the first hour in the pub is great, but then after that everyone repeats themselves and everyone keeps saying the same thing or doing, you know, or then we'll go to a club, or then we'll call the dealer, and we'll you know, it's nothing happens good after 10 o'clock, you know, and 9 times out of 10, I'm in, you know, a Friday or Saturday, I'm in bed by 10 because I've got a day the next day that I'm itching to do whatever I do, you know, the next day, which is you know, this is mind blowing that I think like that now, as opposed to can't wait right now. The old Marcus, I'd be probably 4 pints deep by now, you know.
Friday kick off the weekend kind of thing. And I think, like, I suppose, like, a lot of people, like, the evening's not going to start till like 9-10 o'clock for a lot of people, and then they're going to go. And again, it's not a bash on people that do it, but I don't know whether it's because I got older, but my idea of drinking myself to a point where I can't remember. I wasn't a good drinker. I tend to have, like, I forget half the night and stuff like that. But doing that versus getting up and being productive and enjoying my day and meeting people and hanging around. And I know, like, society can be a little bit, well, everything's evolved around drink. But like you said, like I have no desire to go to a pub because I've no desire to be in that situation because of what I know what the eventuality is. Like again, if you're not drinking, you'd be there for an hour or two and you got to head on your way because people repeat themselves and they start talking shite, really.
Yeah.
They're giving out about things that they never want to change, and it's the same conversation that they're always having week in, week out. It's just the different spin on it, and you're kind of like, there's more to it, and that's what kind of what's bringing to us. So since, like, obviously you've been off drink, so that's over to what, 3 years now, nearly.
Yeah, coming up to 3 years in January the 1st will be 3 years.
Yeah. Like, how has because I know you do sober weekends, how has your weekends been? Like, what have you done? What are the big things that you've achieved and experienced since giving up alcohol that you would have if you still drank?
I suppose I've still been on holidays when I did drink, but I've just come back from New York, and I went. To be honest, I went to New York the first time with my mum. My mum took me when I was at probably one of my, like, I'd say I was really, really at like my lowest point. Like, and that was my ex-wife had just left me. You know, I was boozing heavily. You know, I was just like drinking to escape my life, not facing anything.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is and that was such an amazing holiday. And the beauty of it, I've just surprised my girlfriend with that 40th birthday to go there. And, you know, how alive I felt going to New York this time. And I suppose, like, the weekends are just, for me, it's not just the weekends, it's the evenings. You know, I get my evenings back. You know, I can play golf. Like, I've been to the golf range tonight. But just before I seen you, I've tapped into different, like, with my golf. I've made new friends through golf, you know, and I hadn't done that before. I've made, you know, better friends with Alliance. I've physically pushed my body to 2 marathons, the Goggins Challenge. Because of you, I did the Goggins Challenge. You know how inspiring that was, you doing it. I was like, Stephen said it was good, let me do it. You know, things I wouldn't have done. You know, I wouldn't have got out of bed on a Saturday, let alone get up at 4 o'clock and run 4 miles, let alone get up at 12 o'clock and run 4 miles, eating pasta at 1:30. You know, all this, I'd have been eating a kebab at 1:30 or still been getting pissed. You know, all these little nuggets, but it's enjoying them with people and connections that they're just more wholesome, the connections I've made. So, you know, there's nothing, you know, I do, like you said, a lot of sober Saturday reels, and to be honest, a lot of them are just me walking, eating, drinking coffee, right? But before that to me it makes me smile and makes me happy, because I get to do that with my girlfriend, who is like my biggest cheerleader, and she's amazing, like, to be, like, you know, she makes me proud as well. Like, but the thing is, it's nothing exciting, and I think we'll get onto that in a minute, but it's exciting to me because that old Marcus was hating life. I was still either up from the night before, I was still in bed on Saturdays, right? But you know, my addiction's probably gone from beer to coffee. You know, I love good coffee, good bakery. You know, I'll go, but I've explored the UK now. You know, and I do stupid, like, challenges. Hence, I've signed up to your amazing challenge. You know, I wouldn't have just whimsical gone, yes, Stephen, I'm definitely doing it. I'd have been like, I can't even run to the bar previously, let alone, you know, do a 24-hour challenge, let alone do the 48-hour challenge. So I suppose it's just given me a new sense of being, new sense of purpose, and a new sense of energy and like worth at the weekends. Like, it's not anything. I do a lot of things, you know. I do comedy, sports. You know, I love my holidays and I love good food, which is a lot of the sober Saturdays. But I suppose the main thing is you'll see a lot of it is walking, eating, and coffee, right? And
you're getting to experience it rather than with like, again, it's not that you're knocking it, but you're getting to have a more. You're mentally fresher. You're able to remember. You're able to properly experience things. You're making real connections with people because if someone's bullshit, you're not going to really hang out with them willingly. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to sit with a guy for 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll hang out in the pub, and then we'll go to a nightclub, and we're like, I'm sober and he's a muppet.
Yeah,
you're not like so. That type of what I mean is experience is that you have more clarity in what's happening, but then it allows you then to be more productive in helping others, promoting what you're doing, helping other men or women who are struggling to get a handle on their habit. And because a lot of people are not happy with how their habit is and what it's doing to them, but they don't know how to get away from it because it's the norm. And if it's a societal norm, it's very hard to go, well, I'm not drinking anymore, because most people are like, go on. And then eventually it's like, because all your social engagements happen in pubs, and if you keep going back to the same place, eventually you'll crack.
Yeah.
Not to crack. Whereas if you create new things, you're doing more exciting things. Like it's just, you're meeting different people. Everything's just got a little better, I think, and you're more productive, and you can impact more. And I know that's part of what your gig is to impact more people.
Yeah,
but I suppose, like, and I know people say, "Oh, I'm a social drinker, and I have a couple to unwind," and we know that alcohol doesn't unwind the system in any way, shape, or form. It hurts the system more so than anything else. It's the trigger that you think it's doing that. But what is your, when people say alcohol is a kind of, it's a stress relief, it's to unwind, what's your kind of response to that? What do you know to be true more so?
Yeah, like we obviously promote it to as a relaxant or whatever, but it's actually a depressant and can affect your mood. It makes you more anxious or irritable in the long run. So the fact that we say it relieves stress, it's just you and I know it's just a temporary escape from our feelings and thoughts. You know, obviously a lot of it's in terms of like men I'd focus on because I am a man. However, like there is a mummy wine culture, you know, like where kids are playing up. Oh, I'll put them to bed. I'll have a glass bottle, whatever, of wine, and relax. But that relaxing, you know, I saw someone on a coaching call the other day and had a drinking every night and didn't see it as a problem. Now, to relax. Now, you won't see it as a problem, but you and I know that you'll wake up feeling like, depending on how much you have, you'll wake up feeling like meh, like okay.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. And I did a post about it today. I'm not happy about waking up as okay and not living on autopilot. I want to wake up with like a compelling vision of my future and excited about waking up and getting on with the day, you know, journaling and creating them intentions. But like, if you boozed the night before or used it as a stress reliever, are you then going to be living the fulfilled life the next day? I'd probably say not. But there's loads of, there's loads of things that people are like, oh, well, one glass of red will be fine every night. But it leads to like, it doesn't, it sedates you as opposed to gives you like better sleep.
Yeah.
It affects like the quality of your sleep. I wear a Whoop. My friend said he had a night out, come back the next day, he checked his Whoop and his recovery was 5%. Now, they are pretty accurate, these trackers. They're getting better and better. That says to me that alcohol has affected, his energy.
You're put into a comatose state, so you're not actually able to sleep.
No,
so you're knocked out. You're not sleeping. So you're not recovering. The whole purpose of sleep is recovery. So if you're unconscious, there's no recovery happening because the brain is not functioning correctly.
Exactly.
We know that alcohol affects your hormonal system, so it requires more hormones to help get rid of it out of the body and to deal with it. So what your hormones are actually meant to be used for recovery, repair, all that, cognitive ability is being used for something else. So, and it's like, I don't like when you're younger, I don't get hangovers, or one glass of wine, but it's the compounding effect long term. So if you're drinking every night a week, that to me is, and even if it's only a glass and you don't feel any effect whatsoever, there is a compounding effect. And that if you're not feeling it, then there's no need to have it.
Yeah.
So if it's something that's not doing anything for you, as you say, people say, then why do you need to have it? Because it's not that it's an unwind, it's now just habit. Like if you go to the cinema, first thing most people think of is popcorn and Coke.
Popcorn.
Why? Because it's how it's marketed. It's what you think of. You don't think of a crisp sandwich. You think of popcorn and Coke. But if the cinemas start doing crisp sandwiches every time, and there's no more popcorn, in about 5 years, we're like, cinema and a crisp sandwich. And that sounds weird to say, but if you make it every day in the habit, it will become forced habit. And I think for most people, it's like coffee. People that drink coffee, like most time, their routine is at specific times of the day, I'm going to have a coffee. And I've fallen into this loads of times.
100%.
Have a coffee on the way to work, have a coffee kind of like 11 o'clock, and I try not to have another one after that. But that kind of, it's all habitual. It's not a needed coffee, it's a habit coffee. Your wine is a habit wine. And I know some people, and like you said earlier, like it's a false sense of relax when you're unwinding, but that's what it is. It's a false sense.
Yeah, I just feel that as well, like when it's almost like using it as an excuse as well, using it as I think we talked about it on the last podcast, whether we're celebrating, commiserating, or whatever, or stressed. There are other things you can do, like when you're stressed, like walking, like that 5 minutes that you're about to go and pour that first glass of wine every night, walk up and down the room, or literally put a podcast on that you listen to, or call a mate. You'd have forgot about that wine by the time you do that, and I know that like deviation tactics don't always work because there's still that urge, but I think that when you set about like wanting to do better, that triggers and things like that and cues, there's always something like that, like we will always, when we get up, go brush our teeth. 90% of us will brush our teeth. That's just and you'll. This is why sometimes you'll go to, I don't know, you might drive to the gym, and you'll forget how did I get here? Because it's all subconsciously we're doing making these decisions and doing these choices. But I do think that sorry, I've digressed completely. But I do think that the stress excuse thing can be. We can use that as like a crutch, as I did and as I have, and like you said, by no means am I preaching saying how bad. I don't believe alcohol for me does not sit in any of my life, and I know that it can make your life. We're giving up will make your life 10x. However, I've had 15-20 years enjoying booze as what it is. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be that preachy person. However, I'm telling you that the life on the other side outweighed the life that I had with it.
I think like there's the thing that you were talking, you're saying like if you try to distract yourself from having it in the evening. I've never met someone that was upset that they chose not to drink the night before.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I'm glad I made that decision, even though it was a tough decision. I'm glad. Why? Because I feel better. And it's that delayed gratification aspect. And I was talking to a client of mine, and this is on nutrition. And he's like, after 7 o'clock, when the kids go to bed, it's when I eat. And if I eat, I go all in. I said, well, where do you eat? And I goes, I eat in the kitchen. I said, well, the first thing you do when you put the kids to bed is you go sit in the sitting room.
Yeah.
Stay out of the area that can trigger you. Because you keep doing it. And you can go in there for like a couple of days and you'll be fine, but eventually it's going to get you. Because willpower can't last for long, and you have to build new habits and new things. And even, like you said, if you get out for a 10-minute walk, that will reset your clarity, because that your brain is so used to it. It's subconsciously going, give me, because it's built in, it's routine. And it's like if you got up tomorrow and didn't bother to brush your teeth, you'd feel really weird. Yeah.
Which creating them new neural pathways, create them and like get them firing with good, I haven't gave up a habit. I've just replaced it with a better one, right? Because the habit's still there, but you just replace it with a better one and one that's gonna fulfill your life, right?
Yeah. I suppose, because obviously what you're doing, because I have your profile open here on the screen, so you help men ditch addictive habits, skyrocket their energy, motivation, and transform their lives. So if you were someone listening to this and you don't mind a drink, but you just feel like there's more to your life than drinking, what would be the piece of advice to someone's listening to this? What would be like kind of your top, like 1 or 3 things that you would offer to them to say, right, if you're keen to make a change, it mightn't be quit, but to make a change, what would they be?
Yeah, I think you've tipped it. You've hit the nail on the head there. Like, don't expect the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day thing. Because if you like me, you were drinking from 16 till 35, trying to change that habit overnight is that's impossible. But the best thing is to start like a 28. I used to do Sober October, Dry Jan, and that was my original plan, was to do Dry Jan and then till March. But it's just take it day by day. That's my first thing, is to take it day by day. Obviously, the obvious is get rid of all the booze in the house. Yeah, that's an obvious. Also, as we've touched upon, don't hang around in pubs. If you're teaching your clients to lose weight, you wouldn't say hang about in Krispy Kreme or hang about in McDonald's, right? So I'm not going to tell you to go to a pub. Yeah. Because if you're going to that pub, willpower only lasts. You and I know that willpower only lasts for a certain amount of time, right?
Exactly.
So don't go to the pub at least for the first, until you've got that. I can go without it kind of thing. Don't go to the pub. Everything out there, and environment is massive. If you're hanging around with 10 pissheads, the chances are you'll be the 11th. Yeah. You're like, and I've probably been in trouble for saying this, and I've not lost. 95% of my old social circle are no longer my social circle. Yeah. Now, these are just, I thought they were friends, and clearly they weren't. They were just people I hang around with at the weekends, and the most important thing. You know, I'm also a moderator for a men's mental health group with Dapper Laughs. Now, I get a lot of men in there saying, I can't seem to give up booze. I go out with my friends at the weekends and they're doing gear or they're on the booze and I then get dragged in. What can I do? The answer is, unfortunately, say either you have to have enough about you to say no, 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 or is also like to say, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
And it's all about identity, right? And all about, and I think this is the hardest thing. And it, you know, at the start is saying no, but it's to learn to say no and be okay with saying no.
Yeah.
So 3 things really. Okay with saying no, start small, and also don't go to the pub within the first month. And then the bonus one is obviously your network. Like
I'd say it's hard to see the network because obviously you have people that you like. Again, you see them every weekend, and like you'd have good memories with them, but it was all alcohol fueled. And I know there's an element of you're changing, they're not. It's not them, it's you. And that you have to take that on board. Is like they haven't done anything wrong. You've changed your opinion of what you want to do. I think that's a big thing to take on board. Is that it's not their fault. And
no.
And of course they're gonna be like, well, we're gonna keep doing what we want to do. Why should like you want to change, and that's fine. Go be you. But if you hang around with us, this is what we do. And I think that's hard because then you have to deliberately remove yourself from a group if you really want to make the change. And it's okay to, I wouldn't say lose friends. Yes, it's okay to stop hanging around with people.
Yeah,
a new group of people. Like, and I'd say this is because the amount of people that I've met through Alliance, like I met you at the CERT, and the different people I've met in the group, the different people I meet in the fitness industry, different coaches.
Yeah,
I love making all these new connections. And sometimes you feel like we go into rooms and you feel a little bit awkward socially because you don't know anyone. But again, it's that kind of feeling of kind of like, I don't want to be, not in a bad way, but when I'm 70 and I'm still hanging around with the guys that I went drinking with in college.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
And they're all there, and that's my only peer group.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that because, you know, I was going out every Friday and Saturday doing the same thing. And I would say 60% of the people that were out doing the same thing in my 30s were the same people out doing the same thing in my 20s, mid-20s. And probably if I went out now into town 3 or 4 years down the line, they will be the same people doing that then. Yeah. Now, again, I 100%, if that's what they want to do, that's on them. And again, I 100% go live your life. But you're right. I don't want to be that person on my deathbed going, oh, I wish I'd have broadened my horizons a bit more. I wish I'd have put myself out there a bit more because, you know, you and I know that the worst thing knowing on your deathbed is regret of the things you never did or the fear of like of other people, what they think.
Yeah.
I didn't do that Paul says it a lot. I didn't do that certain thing because Dave said not to, or Steve said that I won't do that, or my mum and dad said I wouldn't be able to do that. Any excuse to do that. Like you've got to chase your dreams. I know that's.
No, I get. Yeah, I get what you mean, and I think as well, it's kind of like what you like. I want to experience, and you're in the kind of same wavelength as me, and like there's people out there that got caught up in the norm, which we consider the norm of life. You get a job and go boozing the weekend. When you're single, you get a girlfriend, you go boozing then, and you go away and boozing and stuff like that. Holidays are meant to be relaxing. You come home, you need a holiday, you need a week off because you're hanging from the massive consumption of alcohol that you had.
Yeah.
I don't like I want to experience so much more out of life from different aspects. And I like again when I don't want to be remembered for he was great crack in the pub. And that's the last thing I want someone to say, that's what Stephen Kinstall was. Great crack in the pub. Like, he was always drunk. He was this guy, or he was all he never missed a Saturday night. He was always there for you, like at the bar. And again, if that's your thing, but I suppose if you're looking to change, the one thing that you need to do, you need to pre-plan what you're doing instead of that.
Yeah.
Instead of being in the pub, because I think if you're sitting home doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs, you're asking to fail.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that probably going back to how to handle it as well is if you're uncomfortable. This is a brilliant tip that I've found. If you're uncomfortable at the start of your journey, saying that's not me anymore, I don't drink, then then bend the truth a bit. I'm losing weight because I'm doing a challenge. I can't drink this weekend because I'm training for the marathon. I can't do this because I can't drink this weekend because I'm on medication. The best one that shuts everyone up. I can't drink at the moment. My mental health is suffering.
Yeah.
Like what have people got to come back on that with? Because it affected my mental health, and it does without people thinking it does. Drinking affects your mental health,
Yeah.
And I think that if you feel that you have to make that little mind up, that's it. But like you said, the Friday night thing is definitely make plans on Saturday that are bigger and better than getting on the Friday. The same that goes to Saturday night to Sunday. Do something with your kid. You're a great example of that with your children. Like I always see how the jiu-jitsu they're doing martial arts now. They're always exercising which is incredible. Like, and I've said it before on the previous podcast about my nephews now. Like they're picking up running now, and I'm taking my nephew to a junior park run on Sunday, and I'm buzzing for that because the fact that they've seen that from me. Not, unfortunately, their dad doesn't run, because he's got a bad back, but Uncle Marcus runs, and they'll see that from them. And I think that's obviously you have to do it for yourself, but if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family or do it for others, because
making that lifestyle the norm. We run on Saturday. What do you do? Well, see, as I was growing up as a kid, I always went running with Uncle Marcus. That's what we did. And I'll give you an example for us. Like my Susan wouldn't be a massive drink, but she's pretty good. Like Susan has a threshold. She'll have a couple of drinks and then she just stops.
Yeah.
Like she can control it, whereas I'm like, if I have a couple of drinks, then I'm in. But we wouldn't be big for New Year's, and I wasn't a big person about New Year's because, like, why would you want to start the New Year if you're all about tradition and making change?
Yeah,
like what's your resolutions? Why would you start the New Year? Because no one starts a New Year resolution until like the 4th or 5th, because they're dying the 1st and the 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
So we do a thing where we go to a place called Glendalough, which is like a half an hour away from us. And we go down there first thing in the morning on New Year's Day. Now I'm the only one to get to the lake, no one else does. We do a walk, and that's our tradition. So we don't stay up to drink at 12 o'clock.
No.
We get up on New Year's Day fresh as daisies. And we go, and we start the new year in nature, getting into an ice cold lake.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I love that.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh, we're gonna have a New Year's party, I'm like, no,
No.
it's not my thing. And they're like, oh, I was like, look, and I'm comfortable going, you go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
We're going to climb the block first thing in the morning. If you want to come with us, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. I don't get hung up on people wanting to be around me. Whereas I suppose when I was younger, I did, and that's probably why I forced myself to do things and go out, because I was awkward. And to feel less awkward, I would drink.
Yeah.
I mean, to try and get new friends. That's how I did things. And I think we, like, my kind of goal is obviously to change the generation of kids, like, to live lifestyles that don't necessarily require most, I'd say 99% of the population to spend their 20s getting hammered.
Yeah.
And then realizing that they need to make changes. I'd rather them go, I can have a drink or so, but like, look what we can do with our lives. We can do this. We can go here. We can challenge ourselves. We can actually communicate with other human beings without the need for a suppressant to make everything a little bit better.
It's so interesting you said that, because I think that the 20-year-olds now are not as interested in booze. However, I went to get a golf club fit the other day, and we were just chatting, and the guy was mentioning about traveling, and I was like, oh, it's great that you're traveling. I've done Thailand, I've done Vietnam, I've done Australia, and I love to travel. I've done other places, but for the main, if traveling, I did them. And his first reaction was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, did you go to the full moon party? Because I've got a funny story about cutting my toe open, and it's a long story. Anyway, he was like, yeah, I did that, and I didn't go to bed till 7 as like a oh, well done kind of thing. And I was like, so there is still that in, like, the youngsters and the social, like, we go there and we'll do that, and they missed the plane, but I was just interested because there's a mixture now of people looking after their bodies. They're more interested in YouTube and misfits fights and things like that, as opposed to doing the norm as what we did from 16 to 30 odd.
And
it's interesting that there are still pockets out there doing that.
I don't think it'll ever go away to a point, but I think we can, like, well, what we're doing is we could, like, if you, like, I know that my kids will be raised in a house where they won't, like, I was raised in a house around alcohol, and it's just norm, and for a lot of people it is norm, and again, like, I don't know, I'm not knocking alcohol, but for me it's not the thing that I see, and I don't want my kids to be raised and it's like, oh well, we're like, dad, or like, if there's a party on and we go to a party and stuff like that, that's fine, and it's a big event like a 50th or 60th or 70th or all that stuff. But this whole thing is that every weekend there was people drinking in the house and all that stuff. I don't want my kids around that. And if you were happy with that, that's cool too, but that's not me. And I think as people, like, I don't know whether it's just alliance or where we are now both in our lives, that the more people we know are just deciding not to drink, because it's not as what's wrong with you, oh, you're no fun anymore. I think it's a more accepted position to put yourself in. It's like, well, I'm just not drinking, and no one harassed me when I did the 100 days. Oh, well, I'm not drinking for 100 days. Why? That's a challenge. 100 days, a challenge, a good challenge. Like, I'm up for it. And I think I was on 80 something days, and my mates were like, geez, you're almost finished, yeah. And like, they were gunning for me to finish 100 days. And now they don't, no one bats an eyelid if it's like, I'm not drinking. They don't even think about it. And then some days I'll have a drink. But again, it's very rare that I'll have more. I don't put myself into a stoop where I'm off the face drunk, and people are, and it's great. It's great not waking up in bits. It's great having the energy to keep doing stuff. And for me, it's great that I can actually still be alert and focused around my kids, which is a big thing. I think for me and for a lot of parents, I think that's a big thing as we age, because you want those memories, because you don't have a lot of them. Like once they become teenagers, it's going to be
exactly. Yeah, I've seen that stat until when they get to teenagers. That's that. But it's interesting you said about that, because everyone we're around, or our networks now, doesn't revolve around the booze. I think probably at our end of year meetups, there's probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 of blokes are giving, when we have to give numbers out, they're giving out their numbers of how many days they're sober, and that's so empowering, because then I've seen others go, well, if he can do it, that's quite, and that's right. I'm over 1,000 days sober, but I'm no different to anyone else. If I can do it, anyone else can do it, and I think but the interesting thing is, and it's obviously highlighted more, but Tom Holland, Spider-Man is just so, and yesterday Adele, these are mega stars, and Adele did say, oh, like, she seems like she's boring, but I think that's probably the initial, I think she's 3-4 weeks sober. That is the initial thing. Oh, am I boring now? But after that, Adele's by far boring, but she'll, not that I know her, but Adele, her personality, her character, I've seen her live. She's definitely not boring, but that's...
Well, you look at the things she did, like with your man James Corden, like Karaoke Car. She wasn't then.
No.
She's able to have good crack. It's just, I think when you stop drinking, it's like, well, I'm not going to parties. If you're not going to parties, are you boring now?
Yeah.
I think that's the look of it. But if you look at all the, like, when was the last time you just had a good old laugh with some mates? It was last weekend when I was out with my mates.
Yeah. Do you know what?
When I went up with my friends. I hung around with my nephews and I brought them all to the cinema. Now, it was a bit of a stressful time trying to chase them around the cinema, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And still, like, it was good fun and I enjoyed it. And then we all got to watch the rugby, and there was no, at all fairness, I was minding my kids so my brother and his wife could go out to a pub to watch the rugby. And I was thoroughly happy watching the rugby with the boys, and we're having great crack, and I was just thoroughly enjoying it. I was immersed in it.
It's so interesting you said that about partying. Like, our mindset different. My girlfriend had a 40th, and instead of, I mentioned to her, like, because she's now sober over a year, which is incredible. But she was like, we had a rounders game with all family and friends, and a lot of comments after it going, that was so amazing and so, like, different to do 40th. But everyone was like, oh, we need to do more of this, and so it's, that's living proof that you don't 40th, you don't need to go, oh, let's get on it. You can play rounders, and because of the people, exactly what you've just commented, because of the people you're with, a 40th birthday playing rounders is amazing. All the little kids, like families, friends, amazing. It's the people, not the booze.
Yeah, and I think, like, it was actually, we did a challenge last year. It started the year called the 42 Strong, and one of the rules was you weren't allowed to drink for 42 days. And one of the women that did it, and some of them were kind of really big into their drinking, and this particular woman would drink, like, she'd have a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine during the week, and then she'd definitely drink on the weekends, and she'd wake up fierce hangovers on Sundays and stuff. And she is alcohol free to this day. After realizing what she could do in 42 days and how much extra energy she had and what she was able to do, she's gone on a holiday, she didn't drink with her family, which is a big thing for her. She went to in London, didn't drink, which she actually didn't do. She just did a one night stay instead of a 2 night stay. She cancelled one of her flights, and she goes, I had fun, we had a laugh, and I came home and I was able to go to the gym on Sunday and I felt great. And that was, I think, for a lot of people, they haven't tried it to see what's on the other side of it as well. I think there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, this is just societal norm, so we just do what's the norm. And for a woman, and she openly says, like, I've never realized how much of my life I was leaving behind because I was hungover.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to do so much more. It's phenomenal. And I'm like, look, like, brilliant. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But like things like that and helping people like that is huge.
Yeah, I think we leave like you said, a lot. Like, we leave a lot on the table because, like, I think my life, or no, it definitely did. My life revolved around when I could get my next beer. You know, again, culture. Oh, we'll go to the airport. Oh, it's 4 o'clock. It must be 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's have a bit. 4 o'clock in the morning. That is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on a plane. The funniest thing was recently, my dad. I was around my mum and dad's, and he said to me, in terms of this culture, he said to me, "How do you deal with flying now?" Because he knew the old Marcus would just get battered to get on the plane. You know, that was the culture. Oh, I can't. Let's get to the airport early so I can get a beer or get a Guinness or whatever I was drinking. And I was like, yeah. And then that would be the norm for me. Is like, oh, where can I get the beer there? And then we go away, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll meet you down at the bar, and I'd get there early to have. And now that's the beauty. Like, your friend is, I don't have to rely on alcohol controlling me.
Yeah,
I can control my life without that breaking free from that booze is enlightening and empowering, like your friend said.
So I know you've run some marathons, and I know you're doing a ridiculous 24-hour event with me in May.
Yeah.
Well, what's next on your kind of, I suppose, like, fitness list, but then kind of your, I was going to say bucket list there, but it's not a bucket list because it's an experience list.
Yeah.
What's coming up for you? What's exciting you right now?
There's a couple of things. Like, I was on a live the other week, and I've committed. I will do it next year. Probably not before the 24-hour one. But I will be doing 13 in 13. So 13 half marathons in 13 days. See, I've made that commitment. So I like, we do what we said we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same with, obviously, the Goggins for me at the time was big, and now I'm like, well, what next? We now set bigger, like you. I'm talking to the king of it. You're doing amazing challenges, and then set another mental challenge that now I'm involved in, which the old me wouldn't be excited about it, but I'm absolutely buzzing. But I also want to do potentially, like, the Three Peaks, like some climbing as well. I did Snowdon this year again. Like, I'm not very good with heights, but I did Snowdon this year, and that for me was quite mega. Like, it felt an achievement, because also I did it with my nephews, my sister and my girlfriend. So that was like, wow, like another wow moment to be able to do that with my nephews, instead of how they saw me in the previous episode. They saw me, and at the time when I was boozing, they drew that Christmas card on me. But so I'd say I'm looking at the Three Peaks, like a bit more climbing as well. I'm not climbing. I'm not particularly great at that climbing, but I really enjoyed Snowdon. But like, in terms of the fitness ones, then in terms of other things, we're still looking. My partner and I are looking to move to Spain in 2025.
Very good.
Also, so that's sort of like the big ones. I'm still learning Spanish. I think we spoke about it when we did our course, but so the amount of days in sobriety I think I'm the same in Spanish. So, like, over 1,000 days I've been learning Spanish.
Oh, brilliant.
So, cool. So that's a passion of mine, like languages. But But I suppose for me, it's more of like just growing the business and helping as many, like I said, men, but mainly men. But I really want to obviously help as many people as possible, because like exploring, transforming their lives without using substances or like any addiction. It doesn't have to be booze, but obviously I've experienced because But when if everyone, and if anyone's struggling, I think our coaching is set to help them people. We can help.
It's giving them another, I suppose, give them another take or look on their life, and understanding that it's not only this way and there is other options. I think those options can be hard because you have to do things, you have to make decisions and release people from your life. That's going to be difficult and hard for you. But at the end of it all, when you look back, it's the experience. Like, as you said, like you brought you went with your nephews to snow. They'll remember that forever.
Yeah.
Like that's like, people remember the experience they had, not what you like. They don't really like, oh, well, every weekend we're like, oh, Uncle Marcus was always pissed drunk. He was funny.
Yeah.
I would rather, like, he used to bring us up mountains.
Yeah.
Things. And then that would be a legacy that they probably do with their kids. And then stories are, well, Uncle Marcus made us do it when we're this age, and we made you, you're doing it at your age. And they're the big things, the big kind of, I think, wow factors. And I suppose when you come to the end of it all, it's like, I want to have so many experiences. And if you're losing a month to 2 months of a year, so you only have 10 months or 11 months in a 12-month year. Wow, you're leaving an awful lot on the table after 30, 40 years. Yeah.
And I think that's it, isn't it? It's horrible. It's horrible to say, but I see a lot of people, even family and friends, living on the autopilot. I did a post about it today. I thought it was really poignant, and because we know that with direction, with purpose, with values, with a meaning and a why, the how becomes easy, right? And then it's making others aware of that and making them live to their fullest potential. And that's what I'm passionate about, because you're right, these magic moments, they don't have to be New York holidays. Obviously that was incredible, but some of our magic moments, getting back to running for me today was one. Being in an accountability group was another. All these littler things do add up, and I just want to make sure that everyone else is living to their full potential, because I'd say 85-90% of people aren't, and that's it. It upsets me, and also it's like, come on, guy. It's almost like wanting to put a rocket up their arse and go, there's energy and there's purpose out there. Like you said about the magic moments. One of the best magic moments this year was taking my nephews to Fort Park, and the smiles and the energy, they had more energy in me, but they got me doing. I said I'm not particularly great at heights, but they got me doing these the mega rides. I'd probably do at a push, but I could not. You can't say no to 12 and 10-year-olds, or 13 and 10-year-olds. You wouldn't say no to your kids if they come on, daddy, let's get on this big, scary, fast ride.
I'd end up I'd do it even if I didn't want to do it, because
exactly,
it's so, and I think a lot of, like you said, the people that I think they're stuck in the societal norm, and if there's an option, and obviously what you're doing is helping people see that option. Out of it and make that change, and it will be uncomfortable, but it will be so much better if you have the right support, you have the right understanding, knowledge, outlook. And
Yeah.
you can literally, you like what you're doing is you're helping to change people's lives. And I think that, like, for you is a big thing. For me, it's literally it's my main thing, is like, how can I impact people in a better way? What can I do on a daily basis when I meet people? How can I service them? And not every day I'm able to do it. Some days, bro, I just have a shit day and my energy is not great.
A
But
human, right?
I have more win days than I have negative days.
Yeah.
And impacting people is just huge. So I know, Mark, I've taken up well over an hour of your time, and we could probably just keep yabbering on here for another hour or two.
Exactly.
Well, look, dude, I want to, if you had one thing to say to someone that's struggling, I know we've already kind of touched on that with the tree thing, but if you had one thing to say to someone that is not necessarily struggling, but just thinking that there's more to their life than boozy weekends, what would that be?
Yeah, I suppose one thing, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I would say is there is, I suppose there's more to life than what's like at the end of a bottle. You know, there's more to life than escaping it. Like, creating a life that basically, that's exactly it. Like, don't escape your life through booze. Create a life that you don't need to escape from, right? So that's basically it. Don't escape your life with booze. Create a life where you don't need to. So basically creating a life that you don't need to escape from, right?
That is quite profound.
Yeah.
Don't escape your life through booze. Create a life you don't want to escape from.
Yeah.
It's huge. I think that's probably that's huge. That's huge. I think that should be a social media post. I better see that in your profile.
Yeah, mate, that's it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, because that is exactly what most people do
Yeah.
with booze.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Mate,
I will
thank
see
you so
on
much.
Marbella.
Yeah, I'll see you, Mobs.
Yeah.
With my speedos on, mate.
Don't need to see the speedos.
Mate, thanks so much again. It's been brilliant. And I can't wait to jump on this challenge, mate. It's going to be mega.
The big thing I say is like, you gotta win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsler Podcast.